Hello everyone, today we are talking about XRP, and today, as it turns out, actually happens to be Christmas Eve. Hopefully you're having a great day so far, and hopefully it will be even better by talking about XRP. Now today's video, we are getting two birds with the one stone here. Two different sides, right? So on the left side of my head, you can see Bitcoin Maxi stating XRP is centralized. Completely wrong, especially when it comes to the relationship between the XRP ledger and Ripple. We're going to debunk that in today's video. So the first part is XRP is decentralized, why it is in relation to Ripple's holdings, and how it actually makes the world even more decentralized. Quite an interesting thought there. Also, on the right side, polar opposite, we have XRP Maxi stating these insanely high prices on the private ledger. We are going to debunk that in today's video in terms of what is the difference between the private and the public ledger, and when it comes to price. A lot of value in today's video. Considering it is Christmas, approaching Christmas, the time of giving, I'm giving you a free video. Why don't you leave me a free like down below? And without further ado, here we go. Okay, so number one, why is it? Well, first, let's figure out the difference between XRP and the XRP ledger. XRP is a cryptocurrency, a digital asset that lives on a public ledger that can be transferred using digitally signed transactions. And the XRP ledger is an open source, public, permissionless, decentralized blockchain that XRP is native on. And the XRP ledger is decentralized because no individual, no organization has the ability or right to control it. I think the scary thing when it comes to centralization is the idea of one singular party making the rules, controlling the system, calling the shots, blocking, removing you from the network. When it comes to XRP ledger, no one can prevent you from making a transaction. And before we go into Ripple's holdings, there's two things we have to dissect here. Firstly, Ripple is a private company. If Ripple disappeared tomorrow, the XRP ledger would still function as it is doing. And the actual amount of XRP you hold has no bearing on the network at all. The consensus comes down to the number of votes from the nodes themselves. Also important to mention, it is open source. No more XRP can be created. And in reference to the actual escrow, the holdings is actually done to provide supply. It is done to provide supply. You could also say that they could sell the XRP they have, but no, it's an escrow. It does get released in small amounts, and they could dump that. But that's no different from a BTC whale or a BTC big holder dumping their bag. There is no difference. There's always going to be big holders, and there's always going to be whales involved. Also, it's in their best interest to have it at high value. Let's just say they go down that route where they want to dump it, they act in bad faith, the community could literally just burn the rest. Also, the holdings are below 50%, but it doesn't really matter because it's an escrow. They can't sell it all. They can only sell it in small amounts, as I just stated. It's the same as a Bitcoin whale dumping, and it's proof of stake, right? It's not proof of stake, sorry. So there's no bearing of what the amount of XRP there is on the actual network. Not proof of stake. Not proof of stake. Also, number three, makes the world more decentralized. First, let's go back to the origin, where you thought about the actual origin was to actually create Bitcoin without the actual mining, and was used mainly for peer-to-peer payments because long-term, the mining, it was not sustainable. Then in 2014, Ripple got fined for operating a virtual currency without a license, so they couldn't actually serve XRP anymore to the public and had to pivot towards banks. Pivoting towards these banks to use a decentralized network. So when you think about you have a small bank and you want to send money to another small bank in a different country. When that happens, it goes through a corresponding network for big bank to big bank to big bank, and they take a big cut. So essentially, they are leveling the playing field when it comes to these small banks, so they can actually directly receive funds from another bank. And essentially allowing smaller banks to compete with bigger banks, leveling the playing field. Now I can go into way more detail about why the XRP ledger is decentralized, but I just want to do a little summary. Nice quick little video. Now we're on to private and public ledger, the difference. Firstly, when you think about the XRP ledger, what are the three things that stick out? It is decentralized, it is permissionless, it is public. It is public. That is a huge problem for banks, financial institutions. They want private, private when it comes to their accounts or their balances. They want a ledger that they have more control over that is more centralized, so they were offered the private ledger. And it's the same technology we are talking about here. It's just designed for banks, and it's the same supply. It's not a different supply. You know, when using XRP, it'll be taken from the public chain. So we're not talking about a separate token here. When it comes to actual price, being the actual same, I'm going to let David Schwartz explain it better than I can.
Question that came up, and I don't know if this makes sense, but the question is, will the value of XRP be the same in the private ledgers as it is on the public?
Yes. The value proposition of XRP is that it has these liquidity pools. If it doesn't make sense to isolate something, like there's no place where gold is worth twice as much as it is now, because if there was, people would just bring gold there and they would they would buy gold somewhere else and they would sell it there. Unless the only way that you can have the value be very different in two places is if there's a lot of friction. And if there's friction, someone will make a business of removing that friction. So I don't see any realistic scenario where XRP has significantly different value unless something's wrong.
And it makes perfect sense. So when using XRP in the private chain, they have to buy XRP from the main chain. And that's positive for the price of XRP because therefore it's increasing demand. There is buying power. There is purchasing power we are seeing there. Even with the thought that on the private ledger is priced at $327,000, or I think it's $127,000, or I can't remember the actual the number that was actually said, or even 10K, even 1K. If on the main chain is 35 cents, why would they do that? Why would they buy from there when they're all actually connected to the main chain? Even if it did happen, it would enable elite levels of arbitrage. So someone making a hell load of money, but it would eventually level out as that arbitrage gap closes. That's pretty much it for today's video. I forgot to include this tweet here, where actually back in 2013, people were paid in BTC. People were paid in Bitcoin to write FUD about XRP. $550 at the time, so 5 BTC. Hopefully they've held on to that and made some profit. If I knew what Bitcoin was going to be worth, hell, I would have probably even fudded about XRP. A lot of FUD, a lot of misinformation in the market. A lot of people say one thing, take it as fact. You'd be so surprised as well, because sometimes you have to fact check yourself. These people are so convinced and ingrained in their belief system and ingrained in the lies that they have been told that you start to question yourself. Am I right? And you have to check the facts and be like, okay, yes, I am correct, and they are not. But that's pretty much it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like down below, and I will see you guys in the next one.